After 11 months, they didn't want a female in the business, nor did they want her as an editor.
Was it said that directly?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I was like, there's something going on here. Like, have I chosen the wrong industry? Am I not where I'm supposed to be?
What was interesting for me is that with a science background, you get all this credibility just out of the gate.
If you can't find a table that you want to eat at, build your own table. I have lived and died by that ever since I read that. Marketing has always unfortunately been the scapegoat in the business. If something's going wrong, it has to be marketing's fault. You're probably not going to talk about the fact that you wrote ad copy for Wish for $8 an hour, so explain that career gap to me. I kind of view it as like I'm the one like bushwhacking with the big machete, so everyone else has got the clear path behind me. So if I can just help people not go through what I went through, or even just be there to support them if they have to go through that, like that's just all I want, really.
Chanel, how are you doing today?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. Thanks for coming along to chat to us.
Oh, thanks for having me.
An interesting topic again today. Why don't I start up of so many episodes with interesting? Of course it should be interesting. It should be a standard. It's like a restaurant saying, we're clean. Like the tables are clean.
Yeah, I expect so.
Yeah, but I hope so. We don't have salmonella in our food. Oh, really awesome. I'll come and buy food from you. Great. But anyway, many marketers, including myself, perhaps you at times, questioned whether this career is for us, whether this discipline's for us. So we thought we'd do an episode and we'd talk about that topic in particular, and perhaps some of the experiences we've had. I'm sure like a lot of marketers, if not every marketer, has questioned this at some point. I may be biased, but we do get blamed for a lot, within companies. So that can be, hard, I think, to always have that coming at you, that revenue's down, what's marketing doing, sales are down, and then everyone just looks in your direction. And like for me, I didn't come from a marketing background at all. I've got a science background, believe it or not, but I enjoyed it. And what was interesting, I'll start with that story quickly, but what was interesting for me is that with a science background, you get all this credibility just out of the gate. You think of a doctor or a person like that, and you're just given respect and credibility. And then I went to this other discipline that I actually liked, but all of a sudden not really just being listened to as much anymore. And people were questioning and all this type of stuff. And it was so foreign to me when I was young. And look, nothing's really changed, let's be honest, but you still get questioned. You still, and I'm better at justifying it now and I'm a bit more accepting of it all, but really jarring at the start. Lucky I love it so much because it's not a discipline where you're just given respect necessarily. It's not the same as others.
No. Not at all.
When I'm mentioning this type of stuff, like, do you have experiences that come to mind where you've had these thoughts?
I mean, I very early on questioned if marketing was somewhere that I was going to belong, and that was really because in my second role I ever had in marketing, I got hired as an editor for a magazine, which was very weird. I'd never had any like editorial experience at all. I guess I'm just really good at selling myself, which is great. Like stoked that that's a quality that I've kept. Yeah, I got hired as a magazine editor. I was there for about 11 months and then I actually got pushed out of the role. It was a male operated business. There were 3 other males in the company at the time, and they just decided after 11 months that they didn't want a female in the business, nor did they want her as an editor. So
was it said that directly?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. At the time, I think I was about 26, 27.
Oh, wow.
It was really hard to process. No one had ever really spoken to me that abruptly, that early on. And it was, it was harsh feedback because I couldn't do anything about it. You weren't rating me on something I delivered. You weren't saying like, hey, I think you could have done this better. It was like who you are as a human does not align with the business. And I was like, well, now I don't align with you as a human. But that was sort of like the first time that something like that happened to me. And I didn't necessarily think like, oh, this career isn't for me, but it definitely made me like waver my confidence a little bit. I was like, oh, like, did I not do a good job? I didn't get any feedback other than female, no thank you. And then after that role, obviously my confidence was knocked. So I was like, oh God, like what am I going to do next? Went into a different role. I got hired as a comms exec for a B2B company. And that was really interesting because B2B marketing didn't excite me, but it was somewhere that I hadn't been before. My first role, I was a social media manager. Then I went into editor of a magazine. So I was like, oh, now I'll try B2B. You know, it was digital marketing. It was looking at like newsletters and emails and all that sort of stuff. So it excited me because it was just something that I hadn't done before. But I very quickly learned that B2B marketing was not my thing. I think it's come a long way in the last 10 years. So it's a lot more exciting. But when I was doing it, it was still like very much boring B2B marketing. That role, as much as I didn't enjoy it, I was learning so much, so I stayed in it. And then COVID hit and I was made redundant day one of COVID lockdown. That stung me because I was a lot more emotionally mature. I was, sort of halfway through my marketing career at that point, and basically at the first moment of like unsurety in the world, marketing was like yeeted out the back door. None of us knew what the impact of COVID was going to have, right? Like it was this big scary thing. We'd never gone through it before we get chucked into lockdown. So for them as a business, just to suddenly say, we don't know how this is going to impact the business, but we're getting rid of you anyway. I was like, what do you mean? Like the whole world's going online. Marketing is the only function in the business that can take this business online, and you've just got rid of it. I'd been at that company for 3 years. I was finally feeling like I think it almost takes a year to get in a business, a year to kind of prove and validate yourself, and then a year to actually start growing in your role. At that 3rd year mark, I was like, I'm finally getting the hang of it. Everyone appreciates what I'm doing. I'm maybe not considered the coloring in department in the business anymore. And then just to get yeeted off at the first sign of unsurety, I was like, okay, this really feels like shit. Like, all the things were going through my head of, did I not validate the importance of marketing as a function? Was I not doing enough? Was I not executing enough? While I was there as well, I always sort of felt like I didn't really fit in with the business. Any marketer will probably trauma bond with this, but we're a definite type of person. We've got a specific sort of personality, and it can often be very hard to bond with people who aren't marketers. I always felt like a bit of a black sheep in that business, and then to just be kicked out at the first sign of things going wrong or potentially going wrong, it really made me question not only me as a marketer, but me as myself as well. I was like, do I not show up? Okay, do I not present myself well? Am I not communicating the value of what I do? Like I said, like that was halfway through my career. So I wasn't early, but I wasn't also established enough in my career where I was just like, well, it is what it is, and move on.
And so after the second role in particular, is that when you started questioning whether marketing was right? Or was it first role as well? Or
no, I think like, leaving the magazine role, I was like, okay, this feels crap, but also like I can't control that I'm a female. So, that's on them. Yeah. But then I think when it happened the second time, because it felt more personal for the role that I was doing and not based on me as a human or as far as I was aware, to have that happen, run one role after another, I was like, is something going on here? Like, have I chosen the wrong industry? Am I not where I'm supposed to be? Like it did make me question a lot. And I think, just being able for a business to just so quickly get rid of marketing in a time where I deemed marketing the most important it was ever going to be, it made me question if I actually understood what marketing really was. I was like, is there something going on that I don't know? Have I like totally misread the room? Have I misread, where I think this industry is going? Like it was all these things swirling in my head that I was so confused about.
And I guess that adds to it is the fact that we do feel like, as you go along in your career that, we are so easily cut and so easy to blame. Like I'm thinking of an experience now where I had someone I thought was a friend, a business that I was working for. I thought they needed his help as they needed a GM. I said, so I've recommended someone above me, to come in above me, who I thought, I knew. They said all the right things going in, it's not marketing's fault, blah, 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 blah. Comes in, 3 weeks, 4 weeks later, it's marketing's fault. And I'm like, mate, I got you the job. Yeah. And like we've talked about this. Obviously, it showed me a lot about who he was, but it was convenient as well. It was just it's just a convenient thing to blame at times. I've got to come in and kind of beat my chest. Yeah. And, something's got to be wrong. Yeah. So, it is often us.
I think it's something that I'm definitely seeing shifting, like now that people are reaching out to marketers to help, or marketing is becoming one of the first initial hires rather than the 15th or the 20th. The industry and the understanding is obviously shifting, but I think marketing has always unfortunately been the scapegoat in the business. If something's going wrong, it has to be marketing's fault. Or if we can't function as a business anymore, we need to cut costs. We don't really understand marketing anyway, so we'll just get rid of them. And I think people forget, like, there are humans behind those roles. Like, this is real people who probably care more about the business than anyone else in the company because we're so passionate, we're so creative, we're so driven.
And empathetic.
Yes.
Because that's what the role demands.
Yeah. So when you get rid of us, like, it is impossible not to take that personally. You can sit there in the exit interview, say it's not you, it's us, it's the business, it's the state. I'm like, yeah, but this is me though. Like this whole role is something that I enjoy doing. So when you cut this, it feels like you cut me too.
I totally get that. What did you do after the second redundancy?
It was day one of lockdown. So found out day one, I was like, cool. So now I don't have a job. We're in lockdown for 3 months. The wage subsidy is not even going to cover my rent. Like, how am I going to make money? No one was hiring at the time because everyone, has literally just been thrust into the unknown or unprecedented times. I hate that word. So I was like, right, okay. I mean, to be honest, the first night I just got drunk. I was like, I can't deal with this.
Well
This is, I was like, where's the wine? Like, give me alcohol. Got drunk, cried. I think I called my parents the next day because I was only like 25, 26 at the time. Called my parents, told them what happened, and they were just like, look, this is unfortunate. If they think getting rid of you is the best thing for their business in this moment, then shame on them because, everyone else is like doubling down, figuring out how to now sell their product or service online, and they just got rid of the person in their business who could have done that for them. So, bullet dodged, let's move on. And I was like, okay, yeah, cool. Like, great pep talk. But like, what does moving on look like? No one's hiring. Like, thanks, mum and dad. Mum's like, oh, you could just move home. I was like, nope. I was like, I am so stubborn. I'm not going to do that. So I remember going online and I just thought, I was Googling like online marketing jobs. I didn't even necessarily need something that was going to pay me what I was getting paid. I was just like, how do I just bring any kind of money coming in at all? And I was in a community page on Facebook for marketers that I joined in one of my previous roles. And I remember posting on there as like a SOS. I was like, guys, I've just lost my job. I need work. Does anyone have anything? Is there anyone I could contact? And someone said, oh, why don't you try going on Upwork? I was like, oh, what's Upwork? And I Googled it, and it was, this website where people essentially created profiles of what they do and then got matched with people looking for that service. So I created my profile, and then I think literally the next day someone contacted me and they said, oh, we need some help writing ad copy. And I was like, oh, that's cool. I've never really done that before. Clicked into the profile, saw that it was writing ad copy for Wish, which is like Amazon or Temu. ChatGPT didn't obviously exist at this time. So like literally manually writing copy. And I was like, this seems a little bit below me, but I don't have anything else going on right now, so sure. And then I saw scroll down what they were paying, $8 per ad for piece of the ad copy that you wrote, and I was like, oh my god, so this is going to be a speed thing. I accepted it because needed the money. It was so humbling. There's no roles that I ever necessarily think I am beneath, but for where I was at in my career to now just solely be writing ad copy, I was like, this feels like 2 steps backward and a slap in the face. But what's a gal to do? Got to pay her rent, got to eat. I was like, all right, cool. Ad copy it is. I remember getting briefs, and it was like, oh, we need to sell this magnetic mosquito net. This title has to be 50 words. The subheading is 250. Body copy's 500. If you go over that, you're not getting paid.
Whoa.
It was really hard to, have a look at, I felt like I was finally climbing the ranks in my career and getting to the point where I was like, okay, this is, I've got a little bit of footing. I'm starting to go. And then to just get kicked back and be doing this role now. And I think too, just questioning of, okay, so this is maybe going to get me through the next 2 or 3 months. Then what am I doing? Then everyone's coming out of lockdown. No one's probably going to be hiring. There was such a fear and an anxiety of, is this going to end up being a 6-month career break until the world basically rights itself again? And because I was so young, I hadn't had enough bulky experience that people were looking for. Because I'd even looked at roles that had existed at the time, even though technically no one was hiring. I was like, well, what experience are people looking for who are potentially hiring? And I didn't meet any of it because I didn't have the years of experience that they were looking for. So I was just panic mode. I was like, okay, sure, this is going to get me the money that I need now. But then what? Then what am I doing? It's gonna look on my CV oh, okay, so you got made redundant or your experience stopped there. Then what did you do for 3 months? Because you're probably not going to talk about the fact that you wrote ad copy for Wish for $8 an hour. So explain that career gap to me. Yeah, obviously the ad copy was the thing that was making me money. I was like, okay, cool. This is I hate it, but it's keeping food on the table. And then while I was doing that, I was like, right, I'm not going to let COVID be the thing that stops me from, doing what I want in my career. I'd essentially accepted that, yes, I'd been, pushed down or kicked out a little bit, but this was what I loved, and I wasn't going to let a few assholes get in the way of doing what I loved. While I was doing the ad copy, I started reaching out to agencies because I really enjoyed the work that I'd done at the social media agency. I enjoyed the work I'd done at a magazine. So I thought if I could get some more experience agency side, because that was what I was seeing, a lot of jobs were looking for that kind of experience, account management or client management, being across all these different projects. I thought, right, I'll get that experience. I started reaching out to a lot of agencies. I basically knew no one was hiring during COVID or even just coming out of lockdown. And I thought, screw it. I'll work for free. I'm making enough money to keep food on the table from bloody Wish that I can afford to offer my services for free. So I was just DMing every single agency I could find, emailing them, being like, look, I know you're not hiring. I don't have anything going on at the moment. I would love to be able to help or support you if you've got anything you need. And I remember, some people replied back and were basically like, verbatim, you're crazy. Right. Other people were like, I appreciate, you like taking the initiative, but, we don't have time to try and like bring someone into the team right now because, lockdown's just ended and now we're trying to figure out the trajectory of the business. That didn't get me anywhere. Well, at the time it didn't get me anywhere. And then I ended up actually getting a role agency side anyway. Someone had seen an email that I'd written and then forwarded it to someone, and then they were actually looking for a paid role, which was, more than I could have hoped for at the time. Nice. Yeah, I ended up getting a role agency side. But the interesting thing is that to this day, there are people from those original agencies that I emailed who I'm now connected with on LinkedIn who remember the crazy girl that offered to work for free because she was so desperate to get experience and learn something when she had nothing else going on.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Wow. You do love marketing then.
Obsessed. Like, marketing will never be done with me. I will not leave.
Obviously, you're more experienced now. You probably feel a lot more stable, I'm guessing, in your career with your experience. Would you ever have moments now, like, in the last, say, year or so?
Yeah, I mean, obviously there was the moment where I almost burnt myself out. That was a big question of, I love the industry. Does the industry love me? Am I capable of being a part of this industry? Because I clearly wasn't capable of looking after myself in a role. Like, that was a big question mark for me. I think since going out on my own as well, like, I've been lucky, but also intentionally lucky enough to be booked for as long as I have been. But, after I moved to Australia last year, there was 2 months where I had no work on, because a lot of the clients who I was working with in New Zealand thought that I wasn't going to work with them anymore. Obviously, I had to take some time off just to physically move country. In that time, like, because I was so new to business, I had no idea how to build a pipeline, how to continue talking about the work that I was doing. So when one bit of work stopped, I had nothing else to fill that gap because I just didn't know that that was what I was supposed to do. And for me, not working for 2 months is like jail. I was like, okay, like I'm ready to go. I've got the potential. My first 6 months, I was fully booked. Like, I had this crazy demand. Where is that all gone? Like, what do you mean no one wants to work with me? Like, how is no one approaching me anymore? And at that moment, I was like, oh my God, have I made a massive mistake? Am I not good at what I do? Did I maybe just luck into like the right time at the right place and get all that insane momentum, and then now it's died off and I've just been kicked to the curb? There's been so many times, even now that I am out on my own, or even with building the marketing club, that I still question, am I doing the right thing? Am I bringing value into this industry? Am I just someone else coming in and making noise and claiming that I can do the things? And I think a lot of that is just imposter syndrome, to be honest, because I wouldn't have got as far as I have today if I wasn't capable of doing things and if the right opportunities hadn't presented themselves. So I do understand a lot of it's imposter syndrome, but I think it's hard to not question sometimes, like, is this the right thing for me to do?
Thinking about when you said about the couple of months without work, like, I've had those situations as well. The frustration I remember for me as well is like, this is a waste of talent.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just sitting on the bench, and it's not like it's an opportunity thing. Like, the opportunity just isn't in front of you. It's not that you aren't capable.
Yeah.
Which, I found those situations very, very frustrating.
It's a lot to process, like, especially for me, because I had such a hype start of business, to then suddenly be left there with 2 months of nothing. I was like, do people not want me anymore? Has something been said about me? And there's this opinion, like, do people not understand what I do? I think too, like, there's always like the positive side of the coin, right, as well. So for me, not having my own work on for that 2 months, it allowed me to really focus on the work that I was doing with the marketing club, which essentially has now set the marketing club up to where we are now. We're about to launch as a paid community. Time was not wasted. Chanel does not waste time, but it was just that moment of, how is no one wanting to work with me right now? Is this something that's me, or have I just not done the right things to make people aware? And it turned out people thought that, oh yes, you said you're taking a few weeks off to move country. The general assumption was that I was so busy that I didn't have time to take on clients. And that was because people were just reading my LinkedIn post and they're like, God, you're posting on LinkedIn 6 times a week. You're constantly talking about what you're doing in the marketing club as a consultant, this new client. You've done this for this person, this for that. We just thought you were fully booked. And I went back through my LinkedIn post and I was like, where does it say I'm fully booked? Like, I have never said that. And I messaged people and I said, did you think I was booked? And they're like, yeah, God, yeah. We just figured we could never get in with you. So then the next day I was like, open for clients, come and work with me. Like, I'm taking on more. And then the influx happened again. I was like, oh shit, I'm not taking on that much. Like, go back. But it was so funny that people just made that assumption. And then because the industry is so small, everyone was sort of like, oh no, you won't get her. She's too busy. And then everyone just told everyone. And I was like, you dicks, like you could have just DM'd me and I would have cleared that up for you.
But it's interesting because you're so transparent as well. Obviously you weren't saying that.
No, that was just what was coming across.
Yeah, you weren't saying, oh, I'm out of work or that type of thing. If someone knew your brand, they might assume that you might have said that as well.
I guess for me, I wanted to talk about it. I had sort of said, or I'd sort of touched on the stuff of like, it was a big move. I feel like I'm almost like resetting myself as a business and everything. Every week I was having a potential conversation with a potential client. So I was like, oh, it's going to turn, it's going to turn, it's going to turn. And then when it got to that 2-month mark, I was like, why is it not turning? What's going on? But then because I was so busy with the marketing club stuff, I think people just mistook that as like, oh, well, you don't really talk about your consultancy anymore, but you're constantly talking about the marketing club. So that's work too. I spoke about it a while ago, but up until this point, a lot of people thought that I was making money off the marketing club as well. I don't think people realize that that's just been a passion thing that I've been funding. So people still associated that with me as being busy, which meant I didn't have time for them. And I'm sitting there like, I have all the time for you. Like, come on.
And in fact, I need funds to fund the marketing club. So please, please jump on board. Maybe we'll finish on this, but do you have anything you'd say to your younger self when you were questioning whether marketing was for you? If we're going to go back 10 years or so, we might finish the episode there, but I'm curious what you'd say to Chanel, who was questioning whether this is the right industry or this is the right profession.
I think I would tell myself that I wouldn't have had the opportunities that I got early on if I wasn't capable and if I didn't have the ambition and the drive. I've always been someone that's been very ambitious and driven, and I don't do well at being told no. Like, if you tell me there's not a way to do something, I will find a way to do it. So I think just staying true to, if this is what you've said you want to do, you will be able to make it work, because that is the type of person that you are. And all these people who have pushed you down or pushed you out or made you feel like you're not worthy of that career were just people who didn't understand you and people whose opinion you shouldn't listen to. And I think that's something now that even if I had to give my future self, advice, I'm like, make sure that you don't listen to people that don't understand you as a human. Because even as I've got older, I've encountered so many managers or people that I have worked with that don't understand me and almost use that to weaponize, oh, you don't know what you're doing. We don't think you're value in this business. We don't need you anymore. And as you get older, you realize that's on you. If that is an insecurity that you're projecting on me, even at a female point of view, I've really struggled with that. Like, I've butted heads with a lot of stronger older women because for some reason, I don't know, my drive or my ambition might be threatening to them because maybe they wish that they were like that when they were younger. And it's just made me realize that is a you problem. That has never been a me problem, and it will never be a me problem. The more that I understand that this is just how I'm built as a human, and if you don't find that valuable, then I'm not in the right place. I mean, I did a LinkedIn post about this a while ago, and there's that saying, if you can't find a table that you want to eat at, build your own table. And I have lived and died by that ever since I read that, and that has been my whole thing now. I'm like, cool, so I'm just going to build my own table. I'm going to invite all my own people. Everyone can bring a chair. It is bloody fun over here. You guys can go sit at the boring table, but I'm going to have a party.
Clearly you are having a party with the 10,000 people in the marketing club, so it's a really big party, and you can you've done incredible things. So I mean, the marketing club building something to that level is amazing as is, and I know the way you talk, it's like we're just getting started. So
it literally feels like we're scratching the surface, and everyone's like, you're at 10,000 I'm like, but
five figures.
What would 50,000 look like?
It's very inspirational to hear it. So Yeah, thanks for coming on and sharing that. I'm sure that you'll keep a lot of marketers in marketing too with the marketing club. Ironically,
I mean, that's the plan, right? I built the thing that I wish it existed when I was coming up in my career. You know, I kind of view it as like I'm the one like bushwhacking with the big machete, so everyone else has got the clear path behind me. So if I can just help people not go through what I went through, or even just be there to support them if they have to go through that, like that's just all I want, really.
And clearly, you're doing that. So, yeah, where can people find you if they want to talk to you?
Hit me up on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn all the time.
Chanel Clark on LinkedIn. Chanel, thank you so much for taking the time.
No, thank you so much for having me.